Hi, I think I'm live. Hello. I'm having some tea, and I want to talk about my paintings. This kind of um, makes me a little nervous because it's really, I usually just try to let them speak for themselves, and the more I talk about them to people that I'm close to, the more I realize that I should talk about them. So that's what I'm going to do, and share it with anyone who's interested. And I'm always telling people, because it's something I really learned recently, is that it's no big deal. And sometimes they say it's not really important. And then they go, oh, but it is, it's so important what you're doing. And I just kind of laugh because it's not really that important. It's as important as I am, which is really small. We're all really small. But we're also all completely connected to each other. So in that way, we're so big. And this is what people, I think, in the world and in this country and people around me, I see it all the time, like everyone's waking up to this realization slowly. And it takes a while to put that in your head. Like, how do you put that into words? It's because I come from two backgrounds, from the East and the West. It's been something I've always understood inside of myself. We have our deep understandings inside of us that come from our ancestors. And those are so hard to talk about and so hard to put into words because we haven't had an oral tradition, most of us. People that do have that, they're incredible, if you've ever witnessed it. So I have this tradition that I created for myself from a very young age. For whatever reason, it just was something I had to do, and now I realize how lucky I am. So I want to share it because the little bit of importance that I might have in that I am connected to all of you makes me feel like I want to share it. It's something I want to give. So I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to start with the painting I just finished. But in order to explain the painting I just finished, I'm going to actually go back to the painting that I finished before this one, which was the skeleton tree. So before I show you what this one is about, if you want to take a look at it, this one makes me really happy. It's not like everything is okay with the world now, because it's not, and we know that. But it gives me a deep sense of peace. And it's because everything that's happening inside of us is happening outside of us, and everything that's happening outside of us is happening inside of us. And that can be both unsettling and full of discordance, and it can be full of peace. And it seems like a paradox, but it's because we can exist in those two realms at once, and that's what I'm going to try to explain a little bit. I didn't even drink my tea. Okay, so this is the skeleton trees. A lot of people that have been watching even a little bit of these feeds have seen them, and I think it's right way up. I'm not going to pin it up because I don't even want to take that much time, so I'm going to hold it here and be really awkward and weird and just really briefly explain. The skeleton tree, it looks like death because it is, and but death isn't a beginning or an end. Birth isn't a beginning, death isn't an end. There are stages, just like everything we go through. I really know in my heart that life is a continuum. So neither one terrifies me. They're scary because they're unknowns. And this one is a little scary looking because it's dark. Because the skeleton tree is dark. It's this symbolic death. The roots are lies. To me, this is how I see it. The roots of the lies. This world that we're seeing now, that so many people are beginning to realize, oh my God, it's so bad. Well, bad or good, all those words, they're words that we use to try to describe what we're seeing and feeling. And so this is just sort of like a bigger word. The roots of the skeleton tree are embedded in the soil of fear and the things that create it: greed, colonialism, exploitation, genocide, slavery, murder, lies. Lies that cover up fear. The tree grows out of those lies, and some things make it to the top. Well, what's going to make it to the top of a tree that is rooted in those things? The most concentrated version of those things. A lot of people of a liberal mindset call that the 1%. It's still a divisive word, so I don't even want to call it that, but that helps people to understand what I'm talking about it in a like worldly way. Another way to talk about it would be, maybe a more conservative person would say, big government. Not understanding social programs, not understanding that some people, when they talk about government, they're talking about ways, systems to help the poor. But some people, when they're talking about government, they're talking about systems that oppress and take away their rights. So it's all language. It's all the top controlling all the center. All these branches that are separated from each other and stripped of the things that give the branches life. I don't need to hold it up anymore, my arm's getting tired. So, what gives a branch life? Leaves. What gives a skeleton life? Flesh and blood and cells and flow and energy and things that aren't solid and dense. But fear takes on a really solid, dense characteristic that, as we can see, shows itself as like madness once we start to really see it for what it is. So this is the second painting I did. I'm going to get my tea again. This time I might even drink it. The second painting makes me happy because I saw something happening and it was just so heartening. It made me feel so much hope and faith, and that was that the top was severed. And people, there's been a lot of fear in the language about that. I even read an article recently by academics that were talking about a kind of analogy to the French Revolution, because activists don't get too active because we don't want violence and we don't want the French Revolution. But that's not what's happening. It's not going to be the French Revolution. It's a symbolic beheading. No one's actually going to lose their head. Well, if someone does lose their head, I mean, we know people lose their heads. There's medieval things happening in the world. And they're not just happening with ISIS. They're happening with people in this country, too. Medieval, dark age type beliefs that are embedded in old systems of thought that are so not helping to this symbolic beheading. But they're part of the struggle. People are struggling where they're struggling. They're struggling with their fear. But the roots... Okay, so this is what I saw. I'm going to go back. I saw a symbolic beheading. So my new painting didn't have that head on the tree anymore. The skeleton tree no longer is that form. It's a new form. And the tree started to come to life. I started to see these, like, this movement of these orbs of light, like, coming out of the trunk of the tree and then coming back into it. And I don't know, like spirits, like life, like joy, hope, faith, belief in something that's not fear. It's something that connected all of this. And then as that energy fills the skeleton tree, which is no longer the skeleton tree, it starts to lift up off the ground. So its roots actually come out of that soil that it was embedded in, and then they start to become something new also. But look at the difference. And I really didn't get this until this morning, and I was looking at it, and I realized, oh, it's good, but there's still things happening that we have to attend to, because the roots still have this heaviness that it carries a little bit of that fear that came from all that soil, all those lies. So now we have this one interconnected being, this system that's existing at the moment. It's a new system, but a lot of it depends on how this energy is allowed to travel into this energy, and how this energy is allowed to travel into this energy. And all I have to say is, if you're still calling people assholes because of what they believe, you're probably doing some of that. But if you're trying to listen to them and trying to connect, trying to share your fears and how, or share how you have dealt with your fears, instead of saying, you're wrong, you're bad, you're representing evil. No one that you come into in your daily life probably represents evil, let me tell you. If they did, you would probably need to be in your house with your door locked and get your gun loaded. So, no, they're not representing evil. They're representing the fear that everyone has in a different form. So, there's the tree, there's the heaviness, there's the fear, there's consciousness, there's the interconnected energy starting to enter it, and it feels a lot more hopeful than it did a couple weeks ago, I guess, when I was painting a dead tree. For me. And that's just, that's all I can... the only person I can speak for is me. So those are my paintings. That's my explanation. Now I guess I'm going to drink my tea and let you look at it for a minute, because I don't know about you, but that makes me happy. I want to soak it in. I'm going to back off a little and have a great day.
Softly to the hole to drink. Come as far as the edge of